What's up, you guys? Welcome back in. You know, as we've been talking about it, WWE is making their return. They're going to be at the Greensboro Coliseum coming up here May 20th. Tickets starting at $22 online at Ticketmaster.com, or you can grab them WWE.com. This is the Battleground Podcast. My name is Battle. Of course, you hear me on 99.7 The Fox and 100.7 WRDU. And today we got a really good friend of the show. I mean, I think this guy has now solidified his name in the record books of this show as being the most appeared guest. Kofi Kingston joins the show.
Go. Let's
Sir,
go.
how are you?
Get the ratings up. You know what I'm saying? Get the ratings up. Bring them back. Get the ratings up. You know?
Hey, you know, if you ever need ratings, you got to get Kofi on the show, because every time we have, there's always something that everybody's talking about. But Kofi, how are you, sir?
I'm fantastic, man. I'm doing very, very well. Can't complain. It's a little bit overcast and rainy here in Texas, but it could be cold, so it could be worse. You know, we always keep our glass half full.
Absolutely. And, you know, I want to talk about this because now that everything's kind of, you know, settled down, the WWE Draft always kind of shakes things up in the wrestling world, right? New Day was drafted to Raw in the 5th round. How do you feel about your draft position this year, and what are your aspirations moving forward with Monday Night Raw with Xavier and the New Day being there?
Draft position is always funny, man. I think for us, it didn't really matter where we went because we know that the A shows, whatever show that we're on, you know what I'm saying? Not to toot our own horn, but the greatest tag team of all time, the greatest tag team in the roster right now, you know, the most consistent. We've been doing it for a very, very long time. So wherever your boys, the New Day, are is where the A show is going to be. But needless to say, we are ecstatic about being back on Raw, you know, staying on Raw, holding it down. We got a lot of new tag teams to mix it up with, you know. But the draft is always super exciting. You know what I mean? Like, just for the fact that you don't know where anybody is going to go. You don't know what the roster is going to be like. But now that everything is, the dust has settled, as they say, I think that it's great, man. It's going to be awesome. Raw is amazing. Totally stacked right now with all the people that we got on here. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we do and what we bring to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you know, we're a few weeks removed from WrestleMania, one of the biggest WrestleManias in the history of the company, WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. I was there. It was fantastic. I want to walk through it with you. What was your weekend like? What did it feel like for you? The emotions, the feelings, everything from WrestleMania weekend.
Well, so it's wild because I've been on the roster since 2008, and I've been blessed to have experienced many WrestleManias. And you'd think that at a certain point that it would get old, right? Like it would the novelty would wear off. You'd kind of get used to it being WrestleMania weekend. And that's not the case, man. Like you were saying, I think that this WrestleMania was probably one of, if not the best WrestleMania that I've been a part of. The 2-day WrestleMania, since we've been doing it for 2 days, it's been awesome to have more matches on the card, more spots for people to experience WrestleMania, people on the roster, and more for the fans to experience. You know, it's people come from all over the world to WrestleMania, and Philadelphia has such a rich wrestling history that you knew it was going to be amazing. But to have 2 nights back to back where you were literally on the edge of your seat for both nights, every match on the card was awesome. You know what I mean? So it was great. It was great to be a part of that, this historic WrestleMania. I mean, we broke all kinds of records with the viewership and ticket sales and all that. And I don't think that, I mean, wrestling has not been this hot in a very long time, you know? So I think we're definitely in a special time culminating in WrestleMania, but now continuing on to Greensboro or to Greensboro. Yep. I always get Greensboro and Greensville confused. I'm like, wait, which one is it? It's like the Peachtree Streets in Georgia. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. You're like, hey, we're over on Peachtree. Which Peachtree are you at?
Which one? Yeah, no, man, but it's going to be great, man. And North Carolina and South Carolina, you guys are always, the energy is always great. You know, so we're always looking forward to being in that area and just experiencing the energy of the people.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, May 20th, Raw returns to the Greensboro Coliseum. Tickets starting at $22 online, Ticketmaster.com, or you could grab them at WWE.com. Now, you talk about being in WWE for such a long period of time. You're a seasoned veteran in the industry. How do you perceive the current landscape of professional wrestling compared to when you first started? And what changes do you find most exciting or challenging?
I think that there's, especially right now, there's really a focus on the stories that are going on. And we've always talked about how the most important element in wrestling is the stories. You know what I'm saying? Like going out there and doing cool moves is awesome. But what really invests people is the ability to tell a good story. So yeah, I mean, you think about like the Bloodline saga that's still going on, almost what, like 3 or 4 years strong with that
Mm-hmm.
storyline going on and bringing all types of legends in and all that. It's crazy. You think about Cody Rhodes, you know what I'm saying, and the guy who was really, I don't want to say run out of this company, but wasn't looked at as a top guy, as a star. So he left on his own accord, bet on himself. He came back, and now he's on top of the world. It's beautiful, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what invests. That's what gets people to invest in the product, you know, and keeps people coming back.
Yeah.
And like now, you know, you look out in the crowd and you see families out there, most of which have had like the older generations, the patriarchs and matriarchs. They watched it when they were young, and now
Mm-hmm.
they're getting to do the same thing with their kids. So that story has gone from, you know what I mean, like the 70s and 80s and different generations and 90s and 2000s until now, and it's still going on. You know,
Yeah.
the fact that we are not able to, that we don't have an off season is, I mean, like, you know, kudos to all the wrestlers and the superstars for being able to endure that. But then also, credit has to be given to the ability to keep that story going. TV shows have seasons, they have episodes, there's breaks. Sports, there's breaks, you know,
Mm-hmm.
with WWE, like the wheel keeps on turning. And for us to be at a point where we are now, where we internationally are the biggest, you know what I mean? We have the biggest international market that we've ever had. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's you know, it's impressive, and it's just an honor to be a part of that era and of what's going on right now.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned about the whole situation of like the generations of wrestling fans. Like I remember growing up as a kid, my dad would take me to wrestling shows, and then I've got two kids, so I've started taking both of them to wrestling shows. Well, my older kid, he doesn't care because he's 16. Wrestling is not cool to him, is what he says.
It'll come back around.
And
It'll
that's
come
what
back around.
I think it's going to come back around. But my 7-year-old is just infatuated with all things wrestling. I'll walk in the house and he'll like just come up and super kick me. And I'm like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
And he's got everything down. And I tell him, I was like, you can't slap your thigh when you do it. You got to be so nonchalant. But it's so cool to see how wrestling has evolved over the years from like when I was a kid to when my oldest kid was a kid. And then now it's great. And you talk about the storytelling, like the storytelling has been fantastic with the WWE product here recently, because beforehand you could kind of predict things that were going on with the story. You kind of knew what was going on, but now with, I think, Triple H kind of running things, it's less predictable now. And how is that now that with Triple H kind of back there doing stuff, you could see a lot of more like free range with things. How is it with Triple H kind of at the helm of everything?
Man, I think he's doing such a phenomenal job right now. I mean, you got glimpses of what he could do with a roster when he was running NXT. You know, when he took over NXT, there was a lot of eyes on NXT because they just started doing things a little bit differently, especially in comparison with the way things were run on the roster at that given time. So now to see him at the helm, being able to, you know, bring that same mentality to the main roster, it really is. It's great. And like I said, you've seen the result of it. You've seen how people are engrossed in the product. And I think like he really understands and you go back and you think about him as a worker, you think about him in the industry. His matches were storyline based, story driven. The matches themselves told a story from start to finish. So to bring that same mentality to the show now, you can see that, you know, and I think it's great. I think he's doing a phenomenal job. You know, so yeah, you know, hats off to Triple H. It's been an amazing ride, and like you said, I think one of the main things that he focuses on is doing things in a unique way, and it might be a little thing here and there. It might be the way that Sami Zayn, you know, enters into Montreal off the heels of Jey Uso leaving the crowd, leaving the building. He sees Sami Zayn looking up at the building. Now Sami Zayn comes in through the. This is a very like it's little, but it's so outside the box that it makes it really really unique.
Yeah.
To get the perspective of the crowd from Sami Zayn's angle. Now I'm sitting at home and I'm watching. I'm like, oh my God, like it just feels different, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of little things like that that he will do that, you know, they add so much to, to the product and the presentation of a match, the presentation of a promo, the
Mm-hmm.
presentation of an interaction, somebody being in the background of something that, you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
little Easter eggs for people to be rewarded, who have invested in the product for so long, you know?
Right.
So it's really cool to see that that he's really going out of his way to make the product different after so many years of the way, you know, of the way that it's traditionally been.
Right, for sure. And it's been, like you said, it's been fun to watch, especially with the production value. It seems like it's stepped up 10 times more than it was in the past, or 100 times more. Just the different camera angles. Like, I think my favorite one is when in the middle of a match coming back from commercials of walking down the ramp, going towards the match and then going to the side. I'm like a nerd when it comes to that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
it's just fun to watch. And, you know, of course, we're here to talk about WWE Raw coming to the Greensboro Coliseum May 20th. Tickets starting at $22 online, Ticketmaster.com, where you can grab them at WWE.com. You know, a lot of people still to this day talk about Kofi Mania, right? Reflecting on your journey to becoming WWE Champion for Kofi Mania. What impact do you feel that moment had on representation and diversity in wrestling? And what do you hope it means for future generations of wrestlers? Because right now, you're seeing more diversity in wrestling. You see Trick Williams, you see Obafemi, you see Swerve with heavyweight championship gold. What does that mean for you?
So when I'll back up for 1 second, because when you were asking me about, you know, like I was talking about like different stories and what has driven WWE. I purposely omitted Kofi Mania out to try and be humble. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to
Don't
talk
be
about
humble,
that
man. That was
part.
a big moment.
I don't know, but there's a lot of big moments out there. And yes, Kofi Mania was a big moment, but that again was another big moment that it allowed the people to be like, it brought them in. You know what I'm saying? For on the product, and it brought them into the show, and it was a very real story. You know, because the 11-year journey that I had to take to have a title, a world championship title match. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it was a legit journey. You know, and everybody was with me on that journey. And there's a lot of people that have been impacted by that moment. Even to this day, it's over 5 years, right? Like I was like over 5 years ago, I still get messages on social media from people talking about how much that moment meant to them, and they still remember like where they were when they saw it. They still remember the emotions that they felt, and oftentimes when they talk about it, those same emotions are brought back to the forefront. So I think it's really cool, man. I think that, you know, as far as representation is concerned, I've always said that it's one thing to say that anything is possible, but it's another thing entirely to see something happen and know that it's possible because it happened. So for me to be the first African-born WWE champion, like it's you know, there's a lot of people that never thought that they would see an African-born champion on TV. So seeing videos and hearing people's stories about like them watching their kids watch that Kofi Mania moment and just see their eyes light up, it's so humbling to me, because you know, there's a lot of people that came before me that put a lot of work in for African Americans and people from different cultures. And I happen to be in the right place at the right time with the right story, you know, um, you know, I'm fortunate and happy that I could be at the center of that moment. But like I said, a lot of times in a lot of different interviews, a lot of people came together to make that moment happen. Woods, you know what I mean? My wife, my kids, the WWE universe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even like I said, the people that came before me, you know, the Ron Simmons, the Booker T's, you know, the Mark Henrys, all the people that put that work in and recognition to stand out. Like it all culminated at that Kofi Mania moment. So to see like, you know, Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes and Oba like doing their thing, it really is a beautiful thing to see. So whatever. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, because I did this, now they're doing their thing. But
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? I think we're going to be successful regardless. But it is a beautiful thing to see people of color out there doing their thing. And like you said, Swerve too, man. I've watched his career, for a very, very long time, gotten to know him very well over the years, and really, really happy for his success too. So it is a beautiful thing, and we are keeping it going, and I love it. I think it's something where like the ultimate goal is to get to a point where we're not talking about like, oh my God, there's an African American champion,
Mm-hmm.
oh, there's an Asian champion. It's just going to be a champion, and we're just going to talk about people as they are, and that's the goal, But it takes time, you know what I mean, to make it normal, right?
Yeah.
To make it like a situation where you're not thinking about the race aspect of it all,
Mm-hmm.
but I think we are getting there. Like the more people that you see, the more used to it that you get, and hopefully, like I said, you get to a point where you're not even talking about that. You're just talking about the individuals and their accolades and their efforts and everything that they've done to get to the point where they're at. So, yeah, it feels good to be a part of that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's something that's always cool, because if you follow Kofi on Instagram or social media, he is very big in the community and with charitable causes. Beyond the ring, you've been an advocate for various charitable causes. Can you share any recent initiatives that you've been involved with and why they are important to you?
Yeah, I mean, my mom and I started the Click for Quality Education Foundation, where we opened up a computer lab and library for kids in Ghana, for middle school students in Ghana. So it's cool to be able to, just use your celebrity and your influence to do something positive and to give back to the community. My and now, like, so that took us about like 2 years to work, break ground, you know what I mean, like talk to different people. My mom did all the groundwork over there, uh, but then we opened it up late last year, and it's up and running, so
Mhm.
that to me is it's wild to me because it took us so long to actually like get it going. But by the time we actually did, like when I got there to open it up, I'm like, oh my God, like this is real, to see the computers like really like doing what they're supposed to do, and the kids using the computers and reading the books and using the library. It's phenomenal, and now it's
Yeah.
like it's up and running, and hopefully it helps people to just have an equal footing when it comes to taking standardized tests when they get to trying to get to college or high school or all that. Now they know how to use a computer, and we make that normal, right? We make that standard fare. So yeah, that's the main one. We're always working on that. We're always just trying to make sure that everything is moving in a positive direction. But the response has been amazing over there, and my mom was over here in the States for about a month, going back and forth from Boston, where my brother is, and coming down to Texas and spending time with me. And then she actually went to WrestleMania, and that
Mhm.
was her first WrestleMania that she's been to.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so also another reason why that WrestleMania was very special too. But just in talking to her and seeing the joy in her eyes to see like her hometown, the kids in her hometown, leveling up, as we like to say, it's a beautiful thing. That's the main one. But yeah, like we're always doing stuff with Make a Wish too. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? We had an excellent Make a Wish session in Kansas City this past Monday. It was phenomenal. Getting to meet some of those kids and just seeing the joy in their eyes when they get to go to a wrestling show and forget about all the turmoil and everything that's going on in their lives. It's great to be a part of that, as always. Boys and Girls Club, you know what I mean? We're always
Mhm.
involved with that too. I could go on and on, but like you said, being able to give back to the community is something that I think that it's our responsibility as celebrities to do, but then it's also one of my biggest joys to be able to have to be in a position where you can give back and have an influence on someone's life, a very real influence on someone's life, so they can go on and have achieve their dreams or do whatever it is that they want to
Mhm.
do. Anything we can do to help people along the way is always great.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some great initiatives as well. And of course, we'll post up about everything that you had just mentioned so people can help out and get involved in what you're involved with. I know your time is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Your time is very precious, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So
Oh, you're
usually
good, man.
at the end of the interviews, we always go to the robots to ask a question. We have a chat
Ooh.
GPT
Oh,
robot
wow.
that
Oh,
likes to
man.
ask questions. Normally, the first question is always like, how did you get into wrestling? So we have to tell them, don't ask that because that's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
asked millions of times. But they've come up with this question. Our chat GPT robot said, if you could wrestle any historical figure, who would it be? And what would your strategy be to ensure victory?
Oh my gosh, so this is actually a great question. This is crazy that we have come to an era now where we're not even getting questions from people. We're just plugging questions into a chat GBTC and it's generate. Oh my God, I don't know if I like where we're headed with this.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Any historical figure, who would I wrestle? Man. I mean, maybe I'd like to wrestle Barack Obama, you
Okay.
know, because it'd kind of be like wrestling The Rock. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? You know, Barack out there, and people say they have like similar voices and all that. Maybe Barack Obama. You know what I mean? Just to say that I wrestled, just to say that I beat a president. Because if I'm wrestling him, I'm getting to book the match. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like maybe Barack. It'd be a good little it'd be a good little match. It'd be a good
You
little
know,
match.
I mean,
Yeah.
celebrities get involved in WrestleMania. WrestleMania 41, Kofi versus Barack.
Come on, bro. Put him in the ring, man. Put him
That
in the
would,
ring. Let's
that
go.
would, everybody would lose their mind if that happened. But that's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Kofi, real quick before we let you go, is there anything that you want to say to people that are listening or watching this right now?
Yeah, man. Just always thankful for the support. Always thankful for people just sharing their time or giving their time to the product. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
in Greensboro, it's gonna be. Is it Greensboro or Greenville? What I say?
It's Greensboro. You got it.
Good grief, man. Yeah, Greensboro. I keep going
We'll
back and
just say
forth. Anyway,
G-Town from now on.
detail. Yeah, yeah. Either way, it's gonna be dope, man. We can't wait to get down there. It's gonna be an awesome show. Like I said, the energy in the Carolinas is always hype. So yeah, it's gonna be dope. And you guys got your own, Carolinian tag team champion in our truth, right? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So you got to come out and support your boy. You know, he always puts on a good show. So yeah, it's gonna be dope. I can't wait to be there. It's gonna be a fantastic show. And I can't believe the tickets are only $22. That's
Mm-hmm.
news to me. I had no idea that they were $22. That's great. You can get the whole family down there for a great show. I'd say that's not a deal. That's a steal. You know what I mean? It's going to be a dope show. So come and see us. Come check us out.
Of course, yeah, you can't even go to the movie theaters for $22 nowadays,
I
but
know, man.
you could go watch wrestling for $22 and be entertained for
Come
3
on.
hours.
My gosh. Why you get yourself like a loud rock music concert with all the great music out there. The
Mm-hmm.
theme for Raw right now is actually really, really awesome. It's a dope song. Go look it up on Spotify. It's like the fireworks and the pyrotechnics. You got a little
Mm-hmm.
pyrotechnic show, a concert. You got people out there motivating you on the mic, and you got great matches in the ring. I mean, what more could you ask for? Bring the whole family out. It's going to be dope.
Exactly. Of course, you can grab those tickets right now. Ticketmaster.com, WWE.com, Monday Night Raw, Greensboro Coliseum, May 20th. Kofi, it's great to talk to you again, man. And thank you so much for taking the time out and
Yes,
coming on
sir.
this show.
Take it easy, man. Good to see you.